Niko, tuchomoke. Niko. Ni nini sura? Stress niya?
Ujaona hii public notice?
Public notice gani?
Bro, hujasoma hii public notice? Unakumbuka ile insurance cover nilichukua? Hiyo kampuni ya bima imefungwa bana.
No.
Serious. Ona. Na vile niko na claim na wao.
Usipanic. Policy Holders Compensation Fund, PCF, ni agency ya gava yenye ilibuniwa ili kucompensate mtu yeyote mwenye ako na insurance claim kwa kampuni ya bima ambayo imefungwa.
For real?
Yes.
And what's the process?
Enda kwa website ya PCF. Fata hiyo procedure ya claim vile iko kwa website yao. Step by step. Step by step. Mpaka mwisho. And you are sorted.
Policyholder Compensation Fund will work with you hadi siku utakuwa compensated. Kumbuka, PCF is the only insurance guarantee scheme in Africa. PCF, thamana ya bima yako.
Work Injury Benefits Act, WIBA, guarantees that employees get financial compensation from their employers when by accident they suffer injury, become disabled, contract occupational disease, or die while at work. WIBA insurance protects employers from financial liabilities which may arise from their employees' work-related injuries, death, and occupational disease. Read and understand the terms and conditions of your policy. This message is brought to you by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA, Bima Bora kwa Taifa.
Good evening and welcome to the Legends Edition on KBC Channel 1. I am Fayyaz Qureshi. Our sign language interpreter for tonight's edition is Lucy Mara. But first, a quick look at stories making headlines in tonight's bulletin. Tighten your belt. More taxes for Kenyans introduced as the Finance Bill 2024 is gazetted. The perennial healthcare workers strike. President William Ruto meets doctors, promises long-term solutions to end industrial strikes. No cause for alarm. Government assures the country the syllabus will be adequately covered within the school calendar. A poisoned chalice. Heavy rains, flash floods and destruction of farmlands. Farmers count losses as government assures them of support. Welcome back. President William Ruto now says his administration is dedicated to finding long-term solutions to perennial human resource challenges facing the healthcare sector. The president, who met with officials from the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union at State House in Nairobi, pledged to address issues that could hamper realization of universal health coverage.
President William Ruto on Saturday held talks with officials from health unions in the country in a bid to address issues facing the health sector, among them the industrial strife that has hurt health service delivery. According to the head of state, the issues are derailing the realization of universal health care UHC, and hence the need to address issues of concern among healthcare workers. The meeting coming days after the doctors signed a return to work formula, ending a 56-day strike. Ruto said the government will continually engage stakeholders in the health sector, including healthcare workers' unions, to promote industrial harmony and long-lasting solutions to the challenges. Union officials committed that their unions will champion and support the universal healthcare agenda and the rolling out of social healthcare insurance to all Kenyans. The meeting comes days after the government and the doctors brokered a truce, despite the highly contentious issues of posting and remuneration of intern doctors. For Legends Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Basic Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belio Kipsang has assured the country that teachers will adequately cover the syllabus within the school calendar. Kipsang said though the opening of schools has been delayed by 2 weeks owing to the heavy downpour that resulted to floods, the ministry has established adequate strategies to make up for the lost time. Schools were supposed to reopen for the second term on Monday, April 30th, but this was postponed twice to May 13th due to flooding across the country.
With just about a day until schools reopen for second term, after the initial 30th April date was moved twice to Monday, the 13th of May, the Ministry of Education is assuring the public that all measures have been put in place to recover the time lost.
We have agreed that we shall put in all strategies that are there to recover on the time that we have lost. I know our teachers are good, they are resilient. We lost so much time during COVID, but we were able to recoup and recover on the time. So even these 2 weeks that we have lost, we shall ensure that we recover it by the time our children are sitting for assessment and examinations at the end of the year.
Belio says the ministry, in collaboration with other government agencies, is rehabilitating damaged facilities at schools ahead of the reopening.
We acknowledge that there are still challenges in a few of our schools in terms of the damage that may have occurred, in terms of wash facilities that may have been damaged. But I would want to give the assurance that working together with our members of parliament through CDF, that within the shortest time possible, to make sure that we bring all facilities to the level that is conducive for learning.
The Principal Secretary has also urged school heads to minimize demands as they receive learners back.
So many of them may have lost their uniforms because of the problems that were there. And therefore, let's be humane as we receive them to school. Some of them may have lost their learning instructional materials, books, exercise books. Let's be understanding.
This comes as education stakeholders in Thika are working round the clock to ready schools that were most affected by floods. Area residents are, however, expressing safety concerns, especially for learners who have to cross the Oldonyo Sabuk Bridge that was swept away after River Athi burst its banks.
Hakuna watu, hata watoto wa shule mnasema warudi shule, hakuna kurudi na wanasomeanga huko. Sasa watapita wapi? Hata watu wa biashara simekoma, hata labda huko sukari itaisha, hawatakunywa chai. Manake barabara ni hii.
Ile kitu tungeomba sana ni vile tu tunaweza hata kupatikana mtu afanye kitu temporary, daraja temporary. Hata kama ni ile ya mgogo tutengenezewe tuweze kufuka, mtu aende kabla serikali ifikirie vile inaweza kutusaidia.
The most important is to make sure that our children are safe. Tukiona mvua ingine imenyesha zaidi ya ile normal, so you can't send your children to school. Lakini tukiona mvua imeanza kwenda chini na walimu wapigie simu waambie watoto wako safe, then mimi naambia watoto warudi shule.
Meanwhile, leaders from the Muslim community are calling on the government to review the directive on reopening of schools in areas that are still receiving heavy rainfall.
Shule inafunguliwa Jumatatu inayokuja, lakini bado mvua ikizidi kunyesha. Pia tuangalie janga hili wakati hii dunia nzima, hasa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, kila pahali mvua linanyesha. Kwa hivyo iangalie pia, ikiwa mvua itazidi itabidi tu icheleweshe pia, angalie mpaka hii janga liondoke.
The Ministry of Education has indicated that over 1,600 schools across the country will not reopen as they are still submerged in water. Nancy Okware, Legends Edition.
The government has pledged to cushion hundreds of farmers who lost their livelihoods due to floods. Agriculture Principal Secretary Kiprono Rono, who emphasized the importance of government assistance to the farmers, noted a total of 33,000 hectares of farmland was destroyed owing to heavy rains across the country.
The raging heavy rains pounding in parts of the country, resulting to flash floods, has not only led to loss of lives, but also the destruction of vast farmlands. We meet Kinyanjui Chege, a farmer from Nakuru County, who narrates the loss that he has to bear due to the floods that washed away crops planted in his farm.
Makweli hii sehemu yetu imekuwa sehemu zile tunasema ni kama sehemu kame, kwa sababu tuko na miaka 3 hata nyinyi serikali mnajua bila kufuna. Na hii mwaka ndio tulikuwa tumeona watu watapata kitu. Sasa ukiangalia vile tumefanyiwa na maji, hata tunashindwa watu wetu watafanya namna gani.
He expresses his frustration after suffering the same ordeal of replanting his farm.
Kusema kweli tuko na zaidi ya 100 household zile zimekuwa affected, watu wengi. Sasa hao watu wote, na hata ile kitu walikuwa wanapata kidogo ilikuwa ya kununua. Mtu anaenda kibarua anafanya nini?
A stone throw away, Clement suffers from the same predicament.
Tugeomba county, nitafadhali mambo ya maji iangaliwe, sababu hiyo itamalisha chakula katika mashamba yetu. Na tayari zingine zimeharibika beyond repair.
This has seen the government promising to find a way of compensating hundreds of farmers who have lost their livelihoods through floods. According to Agriculture Principal Secretary Kiprono Rono, the move will ensure that farmers affected by floods spring back to their feet and in turn boost food security in the country. He added that so far a total of 33,000 hectares of farmlands were destroyed owing to the heavy rains.
Tumeona imeharibu mimea mingi. Imeharibu shamba mingi ya mimea. Na tumechupanga sasa kama serikali kuona vile tutasaidiana na wale wakulima ambao mimea yao iliharibika wakati wa mvua kama hii.
Hatutaki tena kuwa wakulima wale wanafanya ukulima yapata potea. Ati tunaweka tu tukisema pengine itamea, pengine haitamea. Tunataka kilimo ambaye inaongozwa na sayansi.
Opito Chemtai, Legends Edition.
The Ministry of Health has underscored the need for proper consolidation of solid waste management to curb the outbreak of waterborne diseases as the country continues to experience flooding. Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni has also revealed that the government is collaborating with development partners to bridge the gap of lack of clean water provision to 7.3 million Kenyans.
The government's appeal for aid to Kenyans displaced by floods in the country, well-wishers among them UNICEF and British government representatives Saturday pitched camp in Mathare area. The delegation, which was accompanied by Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni, visited an IDP camp at Huruma grounds as well as health and water facilities.
We do not want to have diseases that, like cholera, being the next catastrophe that we are dealing with after the floods. We want to contain it at the household level.
So primarily to see that what can be done more to ensure that the issue of public health and hygiene.
Muthoni disclosed plans to ensure all Kenyans have access to clean water in a bid to avert the outbreak of diseases.
7.3 million households in Kenya do not have access to clean water or better sanitation. And this is the time to change the tide.
UNICEF Regional Director for Eastern and Southern Africa, Etleva Kadili, and the UK Deputy Development Director, Eduardo Mendonça Gray, pledged development partners aid in providing sanitation services across the country.
We saw people taking fresh water, safe water for actually cooking and food and drink. As we know, water is fundamental, right?
Meanwhile, Mathare MP Anthony Ulwoch Saturday led the launch of a flood disaster fund and medical camp appeal in aid of residents affected by floods in Mathare area.
This fund that we are launching today, apart from the medical camp, we will be able to reach out to people who died. There are a number of people confirmed deaths wawili kutoka Mabatini, one from Gay, one from Huruma, one from Kosovo.
For Legends Edition, I'm Joseph Wahungu.
Right, it's time for a quick break and we'll be back in a short while. Stay with us.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi, dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii, fuka na shake.
Comprehensive motor vehicle insurance covers death and bodily injury to passengers, death and bodily injury to pedestrians, damage to third-party property, loss or damage to vehicle due to fire, theft and accident. Comprehensive insurance does not cover the driver and owner of the vehicle. Consider taking a personal accident to cover driver and owner of the vehicle. Motor vehicle insurance cover is not transferable. When you sell your vehicle, remember to cancel your policy. Read and understand the terms and conditions of your policy. This message is brought to you by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA. Bima bora kwa taifa.
Motherhood is a journey, and motherhood begins when you give birth to your child.
And you're going to be this child's influence from when they're 0 days old to when they're old and grey. Yes. Because you don't stop being a mother even if your child is 90 and maybe you're still gone, yes. You're gone, yeah. You're still a mother.
You're a mom and an entrepreneur. Do not forget about yourself. The number one thing about this life is enjoyment. Live your life. Yes. So you might be a parent, but don't let that parenting take over the person that you are.
And as a mother, you need to be able to carve out time for yourself. Whether you have 5 children, whether you have 6 children, whether you have 1. And it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Welcome back. Kenyans will have to tighten their belts even more following the gazettement of the Finance Bill 2024. The bill has proposed a 16% VAT on bread, with a 400 gram of loaf set to rise by at least 10 shillings under the bill. The bill further proposes that vehicle owners will pay a new annual motor vehicle tax at the rate of 2.5% of the value of the car at a minimum of 5,000 shillings and a maximum of 100,000 shillings. Our reporter Abdi Aziz Hashim went through the 135-page document and files this report.
Kenyans will have to dig deep into their pockets if the latest gazettement of the Finance Bill 2024 is anything to go by. The 135-page document has proposed a raft of measures geared towards broadening the tax base and raising the revenue to meet the government's plans in the next financial year of 2024-2025. Among the proposed areas that has elicited mixed reactions, both on and offline, is the latest 16% VAT on bread, with 400 gram of loaf set to rise by at least 10 shillings under the new law. Treasury has proposed the removal of ordinary bread from the list of zero-rated supplies, a VAT exemption list. Others who will feel the pinch of the new law are vehicle owners who will start paying an annual tax of up to 100,000 Kenya shillings, depending on the value of their cars, if Parliament endorses the proposals that is set to increase motoring costs amidst the costly fuel and spare parts. The bill proposed the introduction of a 2.5% annual tax on the value of vehicles, with a deduction set at a minimum of 5,000 Kenya shillings and a maximum of 100,000 Kenya shillings. The deduction, called motor vehicle tax, will be paid on each vehicle at the time of issuing an insurance cover. Moreover, imported motorcycles costing 130,000 Kenya shillings and above are set to become more expensive after the Treasury proposed to raise excise duty on a two-tier system featuring the current flat rate of 12,952 shillings or a new proposed rate of 10% of the unit's value. This move, if adopted by the members of Parliament, is likely to affect most motorcycles with an engine capacity of 100cc or more and in turn push them out of reach of many Kenyans. Elsewhere, gamblers will pay the government 20 shillings for every 100 shillings staked after the Treasury proposed to increase excise tax on betting stakes to 20% from the current 12.5%. Excise duty on fees for mobile money transfer services like M-Pesa and money transfer charges in bank circles now rises from 15 to 20%. The cost of financial services such as the issuance of credit and debit cards, forex transactions and processing of checks to attract 16% VAT. And finally, it is a win for beer lovers as Treasury proposes to cut excise duty on a 500 ml bottle of beer with 4.2% alcohol content from 71 shillings and 22 cents to 47 shillings and 25 cents. The push to increase VAT on essential commodities comes in the backdrop of poor revenue collection by the Kenya Revenue Authority KRA, which has been, despite recently introduced tax and administrative measures in the 2023 Finance Act, whose implementation began in July last year, failed to meet its targets. According to the latest figures from the Exchequer, total revenue collected through the 9 months of the 2023-2024 financial year, which runs from June 30th, trailed the target by 270 billion shillings as of the end of March 2024. The poor performance by the tax collector has resulted in the National Treasury trimming both its revenue and expenditure targets, including the new 2024-2025 fiscal year. The bill is expected to be adopted by Cabinet and tabled in Parliament for debate and approval before the end of June. Abdiaziz Hashim for Legends Edition.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and Minister of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi has urged Kenyans to respect the independent institutions, saying they are a pillar to the country's stability and democracy. Mudavadi further called on the political class to desist from politicizing independent institutions and allow them to discharge their duties without fear or favor. Mudavadi at the same time challenged political leaders from the Western region to unite for the sake of development and prosperity. He was speaking during the funeral service of the late Mama Femina Khayisio, mother to the Director of Public Prosecutions, Renson Mulele Ingonga. Mudavadi eulogized Mama Femina as a matriarch whose service to the society was immeasurable.
Chose to be with us in a show of solidarity with his family. Now, washukuru sana. When you travel back, travel safely and say a word of prayer for this family.
Na William Ruto, rais wetu, ameonyesha siasa haina chuki. Sasa hawa vijana ambao wanapanda chuki kila siku, pick a lesson from Musalia and I. You never see us talking at each other, insulting each other, and we do so many things that we don't stand at funerals to count because it is not necessary.
Tushikane kwa pamoja so that we have the political unity. Ili nambari zetu ambazo tuko nazo, our unity is our strength. Our 10 million strong votes must count in 2032.
Kwa hivyo tuko hapa kudhibitisha kwamba we shall always respect the role that the legal fraternity play. People so that whatever decisions are made, they are made in accordance with the law and not any extraneous influence. So let us respect and honor those institutions as we move forward. President Ruto has made it clear that he is going to support, and he has instructed me as the Minister for Foreign Affairs that we support the candidacy of Raila Amolo Odinga to become the chair of the African Union Commission.
Watch the Mozart-Bet Cup as teams from both the top tier and low tier battle for the ultimate prize of representing the country in Africa's CAF Confederations Cup. Catch all the action live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, beginning with a round of 16 matches, the quarter-final, semi-final, and the final. Mozart-Bet Cup, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Sports News is brought to you by Mozart-Bet.
Once again, it's a very good evening and a big welcome to the Legends Editions Sports segment. I'm Topi Liambila. And once again, it's going to be an extravaganza of sporting activities relayed to you from KBC Channel 1, so don't go away, stay tuned. Now, World School Cross-Country Championships, defending champions Uganda team, the head coach Rich Fred is confident his team will retain the ISF Cross-Country Championship title, and the championship will be held on Sunday at the Gong Racecourse, Nairobi. The event will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1, so remember to make a date tomorrow morning.
Uganda won the overall titles for both male at the 2022 ISF World School Cross Country Championship in Slovakia. Head coach Cherich Fred is optimistic his team will defend their title despite having a stiff competition from their rivals Kenya, who will also be having a home advantage as the hosts.
We feel a little bit pressure, but we shall overcome the pressure. I expect a very stiff competition tomorrow, so it's all what it takes as you have prepared and how ready you are for the race. So the best will take it.
Kenya missed the last edition but will be represented by a strong contingent of 60 athletes. The athletes will compete in under 12, under 15 and under 18 categories, after which they will participate in cultural activities on Monday to promote friendship through sports at Bomas of Kenya, among other educational forums.
Obviously, being the birth country, one of the home countries of the best long-distance runners ever, Kelvin Kiptum, Eliud Kipchoge, all of those, the big names, they all came from Kenya, and I'm absolutely amazed. I want to see like the highest level here. We're going to see many Kenyans.
When we first landed in Nairobi, and I thought the country was really beautiful, the weather was really nice because it was fresh, and the greenery, because in Qatar we don't have that, and I think it was absolutely gorgeous, lots of birds.
The event, which will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1, has brought together over 419 athletes from 22 countries. For Legends Edition, I'm Sela Onyango.
Now, on the same story, Education CS Ezekiel Mashogu has hinted at Kenya's intention of hosting a future international schools competition, which is key in both curriculum and talent development among students. Mashogu was speaking today during the opening ceremony of this year's ISF World Schools Cross Country Championship at the Bomas of Kenya earlier on. Over 300 students from 21 countries participating took part in the tree planting exercise at the Bomas of Kenya in support of the sports greening legacy. Let's take a look.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. By you stepping here, young people, I assure you that whatever country that you have come from, you are also going to gain something. One, the kind of exchange, the kind of engagement, the kind of interaction that you will have, and particularly the event that is taking place tomorrow, the competition that you are going to participate will, I'm sure, give the energy and the impetus such that in the very near future, the world champions are nowhere apart from in this room where we are.
My thanks to all the government of Kenya, supporting by the highest authority of Kenya government, the president himself, the different ministries. Of course, the School Sport Federation, the schools, and the Federation of Athletics. The success of this event will not be possible without the incredible and hard work of the local organizing committee. I would like to express my sincere gratitude, thanks to all the organizers of the highest authority of Kenya.
African Games gold medalist Brian Komen led a Kenyan podium sweep in the men's 1500 meters at the Doha Diamond League meet in Qatar. Former world champion Timothy Cheruiyot and world under-20 champion Reynold Kipkorir completed the podium dash. World champions Beatrice Chebet and Mary Moraa were unstoppable in the 5,000 and 800 meters races, respectively, with Beatrice recording a world lead time. Let's take a listen. FKF Premiership. Kariobangi Sharks bagged maximum points in the FKF Premier League after thrashing Sofapaka 5-2 at the Dandora Stadium in one of the 6 Premier League matches played today. The Women's Premier League saw Kibra Soccer Women being held to a 2-2 draw by ZX Parks at the same venue. Let's take a look.
Kariobangi Sharks, Kaithi Mbali Muchikoni.
Kariobangi Sharks hitman John Makwata was on a goal scoring to net 4, while Steve Mbulere contributed 1 goal.
Wanaingia sasa Sharks!
Jacob Onyango and Derus Magwa scored the 2 consolidation goals for staggering Sofapaka. Following the win, Kariobangi Sharks moved to 40 points on the log, while Sofapaka remain in the relegation zone with 28 points. In another match played at the same venue, Bidco United were held to a 2-2 draw by Kakamega Homeboys. In other matches, Kogala extended their lead to 63 points on the log after they beat Shabana 1-0. Ulinzi were held to a goalless draw by Moroni Youth, while Nzoia Sugar drew 1-1 with KCB. Elsewhere in the FKF Women Premier League, ZX Sparks were held to a 2-2 draw by Kibera Soccer Women at Dandora Stadium. For Legends Edition, I'm Sela Onyango.
From the basketball pitch, the reigning Kenya basketball champions KPA are through to the semi-finals of the Eliud Owalo Basketball Foundation tournament held at the Nyayo National Stadium Indoor Gymnasium and Ulinzi Sports Complexes today. Strathmore University and Ulinzi men also registered crucial victories to join the Premier League champions in the semi-finals, and so did Zetech University in the women's category. Let's take a listen.
Strathmore University beat USIU 66-40 in the quarterfinals. They bagged the first quarter 16-12 before losing the second quarter to USIU 27-29. They came back strong in the third quarter to win 45-38 before bagging the fourth quarter to qualify for the semis. In another match, Zetech University defeated Strathmore Swords 63-46.
We've been knocked out because we've lost our 2 games, but it was a good experience. We really gained a lot of exposure, and we look forward to facing our opponents in playoffs.
In the men's category, KPA crashed USIU 61-48 after winning all quarters 17-13, 17-11, 8-6 and 15-12 respectively.
After this season, I'm hoping and I'm praying so hard, and I'm also working that I might get a better team. Not even a better team, but a team that I can keep on playing for, considering that I'm still young.
The tournament, organized by ICT and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eric Owalo, features 12 teams, both men and women, drawn from Kenya Federation leagues. The winners of the tournament will pocket 300,000 Kenyan shillings, while the second and third place teams will bag 200,000 and 100,000 Kenyan shillings, respectively. King Orimwangi, for Legends Edition.
And now for a special feature, perception of incompatibility of sports and motherhood still exists within both sports and the family culture. For many female athletes, starting a family means an end to their sporting career or putting it on hold in order to pursue their dreams. However, some women have managed to continue their sporting careers after becoming mothers. Our reporter Nora Mwangi explored the transition of these female athletes into motherhood and their experience of combining motherhood and competitive sports. Let's take a listen.
A mother is demanding in a lot of ways. Adapting is just part of a mother's life. Female sports personalities face agonizing decisions about pausing their careers to have children or waiting to start a family after they retire. Contracts might be reduced with doubts both internal and external about regaining their form after having a child.
Cutting off the weight was a big challenge for me, but as I said, I am a go-getter, so it meant paying for some gym classes for myself.
Back to training, it was really hard because I was unfit, and there were a lot of people who were very fit, so that's why I didn't make it to the team.
As much as motherhood is celebrated, women are still challenged when it comes to parenting their children and playing professional sports.
Wakati tunatoka nje, unawacha mtoto, unawachia mfanyakazi mtoto akulelee kwa muda wa wiki ama siku 5 hivi. So maybe wakati unapokuwa huko nje, akili iko kwa mtoto, ujue akoje, anaendelea aje, and sometimes maybe unaacha mtoto feel poor. So that's the thing, unasikia mtu uko nje but hauko comfortable pia.
I wouldn't say that you shouldn't want to start your family because of sports and such a thing. Because I was there. I was a very good striker, by the way, and I still am, and I'm working my way back there.
Some of these women have partners who care for their children, and this helps bring a balance in motherhood.
Alinisukuma sana, kaniambia you'll have to go for training. Tutakuwa na chance za kukaa na mtoto. Wakati wewe uko na training ya national team, mimi nabaki na mtoto. Wakati yako na training ya national team, mimi nabaki na mtoto. So tulisaidiana kabisa.
I knew that at the end of it all, I'd still want to see myself playing and motivating others and being that mother who came back with a bang.
We do fitness, not only the ball work, but we do everything. So that makes me come back, and it's really helping me. Yeah.
Pregnancy is wonderful, but it can also be difficult for the body of professional athletes, as it can be completely overwhelming and exhausting.
I have like over 15 cups or more. I can't really keep tabs, but they're quite a number. And to those ladies who are fearing this, please stop the fear. It's doable, it's possible. It's all about planning yourself.
I make time to go and practice. I make time to have the team bonding with my team members, and still I have a baby to take care of. I have a child that needs my attention.
Pata mtoto si mwisho wa talenta yako. Hiyo si mwisho wa talenta yako. Unaweza fika hapo na urudi tena. Itakutegemea na vile utarudi na nguvu zako na ile bidii na discipline ya mazoezi yako.
For professional sportswomen who are mothers, their stories are entirely different with the simple joys.
I come to City Park, I'm going to play a game, and they're all there watching me. I really feel so proud.
When the baby is there in the in the stands and screaming out, "Mommy, keep pushing! Mommy, I can see you! Mommy!" Yeah, in as much as she may not understand whether it's you've been scored or you guys have scored, but just the sound and the voice of my child is such a big motivator.
Struggles and chaos that come along. These women should get the support and advocacy they need, and their wins on the scoreboard recognized equally.
Sports gave me the first job, and I'm still into it. So the more I also play, the more I also get to go higher in the department.
Women in sports have not called it quits even after transitioning into motherhood. In fact, they say it gets better once another responsibility has been added.
Unacheza ili waone na pia encourage the young girls who are coming up, because most of them akiwa mjamzito, akipata mimba, kuisha. It's not the end of life, but it's just the beginning.
Happy Mother's Day to all women out there from Nora Mwangi on Channel 1.
It's a beautiful story there from Nora Mwangi. Now, cycling is a sport that is rapidly growing in Kenya. Riders spend hours a day training their respective races. But what's involved in a cyclist training, and how does science play a crucial role? Our reporter Emmanuel Dungu took a deep dive into the topic with some of the Kenya's National Cycling Federation coaches. Let's take a listen.
I'm sure you're familiar with the sight of a cyclist fully kitted out training on our local roads. But what are they actually doing? Are they just pedaling? Or is there more behind the training to get them to their peak performance? Today, we're going to find out with the help of some Kenyan national team coaches.
Right, is he going to make it stick? Kwiatkowski tries to come around the outside. Kwiatkowski's there, they bunch up. Kwiatkowski has a lead. Oh, I cannot tell you at the line.
Professional cyclists are among the fittest people on earth. A race that you may be familiar with, the Tour de France, is a 3,500-kilometer bike race raced over 21 days to crown the rider who finishes the total distance in the shortest time. Unimaginable endurance is required to compete at the highest level of cycling. Training for cycling is like any other sport. It's their life. Cyclists need to eat, drink and sleep in anticipation of the next time they step foot on the bike. They also need to follow a structured training program tailored to their needs and goals.
When you see a cyclist on the road, this guy is definitely training one way or the other. Because when you're training, we have different levels. We have zone 1, we have zone 2, we have zone 3, up to 4.
The zones mentioned are critical to plan a cyclist training. Commonly, zones are based on a rider's heart rate. This essentially divides the athlete's heart rate range into specific zones to give a better picture of which energy system is being used at any given time. Zone 1 is anything under 65% of your maximum heart rate and is where we spend the majority of our time when sitting down, walking, or doing other basic activities. Zone 2 is between 65 and 75% of your maximum heart rate and is still completely aerobic. You're breathing heavier, but you're still in control and can spend hours at this intensity. Zone 3 is a moderate zone between 75 and 84%, which trained riders can sustain for up to 4 hours. Zone 4 is a high-intensity bracket between 85 and 94% of a cyclist's max and greatly emphasizes the higher threshold muscle fibers. Riders also use it to improve their ability to sustain high power outputs for longer periods, but your body can only maintain this intensity for between 30 and 60 minutes. Zone 5 is the highest zone between 95 and 100% of your maximum heart rate and requires the maximum amount of oxygen that the body can utilize. Even trained riders are lucky to maintain Zone 5 for more than 8 minutes at a time.
You have to have your year goals set out the year before, so that when you start during the year, you set your goals. Is it the Olympic that you want to qualify? Is it a race that is in August, as you said, that you want to qualify? And for that, you identify the other races, the build-up races that you're going to have. And then you break down your training into, say, August is the 8th month. So you break down your training into like blocks and how to approach up to the 8th month of it.
Once a rider has a desired goal, the coach then organizes their training into training blocks, gradually increasing the intensity and making the workouts more specific to their event. Someone training for a 6-hour gravel race will train very differently from someone doing a 1-hour mountain bike race.
We say cycling is a sport of endurance for sure, but somebody who's doing 6 hours will have to train for more endurance than the person who's going to spend 1 hour on the road. The 1-hour rider, most likely we are going to train for power, and this is a person we have to train for more of his endurance.
A typical training session is based on time and intensity. A rider training for a longer race should spend more time on the bike, so an example session could be a 4-hour or 100-kilometer ride in Zone 2 while throwing in some sustained periods of high intensity. In this case, 3 by 15 minutes at Zone 4. Someone training for a shorter race will likely train for less time while spending shorter bouts at a higher intensity. Not all of a cyclist's training is spent on the road, though. The gym plays a crucial part in conditioning the body for the demands of bike racing. This also goes for youth and para-athletes who train for similar goals in their respective events.
Well, we have one paracyclist that is selected for the Olympics, but we also have a group that is supposed to be leaving for Belgium on the 29th this month. So they're supposed to go. So we're expecting maybe a list of 5 others to be selected for the Olympics. Yeah.
I recently trained the athletes who went to the Youth Commonwealth Games in Trinidad last year, and the performance was great.
So, drivers, you never know. The cyclist you could be overtaking could be one of Kenya's Olympic prospects training for Paris this year. So please, exercise caution and give 1.5 meters allowance every time. And for cyclists, you can do your part to keep safe as well by having lights so that you remain visible. Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
Now, Chandarana of Kenya will face Nikita Kachan in an all-Kenyan affair in the ongoing extreme tennis tournament tomorrow at the Parkland Sports Club as India's Ramanuj Priyam meets Waylon Lim of the USA in another top-built match of the day. Let's take a listen.
India's Maya Somokh, Switzerland's Ladot Mark, China's Yaming Guo, and Italy's Pozzi Riccardo all got buys in today's matches when their opponents failed to show up. Tomorrow's matches will see Kenya's Aum Chandrana face Kachan Nikita as Ramajun Priyam of India plays Waylon Lim of UAC. Parkland Sports Club chairperson Noman Asega says the event will not only serve as a platform for young tennis players to demonstrate their skill but also highlight their dedication and passion for the sport.
We have a strategy as a club. We are committed to improving sports facilities and partnering with the sports federations, the government, and even private clubs to make sure that we improve not only tennis, many other sports. We are going to work very hard to improve the facilities so that we have as many tournaments here as possible.
A total of 73 players from 30 different countries, among them Kenya, Ghana, Finland, Germany and China, are set to take part in the continental event. Faith Akinyi for Legends Edition.
Viewers, we cut the sports bulletin early because we have got a very special live boxing match coming up, which is a Commonwealth Super Featherweight title fight between Casti Hill and Zarika Fatuma, which will come out live on KBC Channel 1. So don't go away. It's going to be great. And of course, later on, of course, you find there will be the Rumba, which will come up after the fight, boss. Thank you. Stop Iliambila, signing off now.
Sports News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
You can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Right, thank you very much, Chopi Liambila, for the latest in sports. We'll go back to our stories, the last pending story that was left. on the Legends edition tonight. Industrialization Principal Secretary Dr. Juma Mukhwana has affirmed the government's commitment to providing incentives to Chinese investors. Dr. Mukhwana, who was speaking during a Kenya-China trade and economic roundtable in Nairobi, emphasized the importance of foreign investment in bolstering the country's industrial sector, particularly through the establishment of county and aggregation parks. Right, because of that exciting live boxing match coming after this bulletin, we'll wind up the news tonight, and that's all from our newsroom. Our sign language interpreter for tonight's edition was Lucy Mara. Thank you very much for watching. I am Fayyaz Qureshi. Have a good night.
Kenya continues making strides to attract investors in a move geared towards implementing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda better goals. According to Industrialization Principal Secretary Dr. Juma Mukhwana, the country has untapped opportunities and potential for significant economic growth and job creation that could result from increased Chinese investment in these parks.
We're working very hard to open up other market opportunities. For example, we have also signed up to the African Continental Free Trade Area, where you can now produce something here for Africa, for 55 countries, for 1.3 billion people. So that is a market that we are also working, and our president has worked very hard to open that market.
While urging the Chinese investors to unlock opportunities in the county industrial parks, Mukhwana says industrial zones are designed to attract both domestic and foreign investors.
If you want to build your own factory in any county, you come to us, we'll give you a letter, the county will give you free land. So you will get land for free to build your own factory. If you feel like what we have constructed is not good enough, it is not up to your standard, each of the counties has now set aside land for you to construct your factory on it, and will not be selling you this land, we'll be giving you this land free at the county level.
Separately, the Secretariat of the Organizing Committee of China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo held the China-Africa Culture and Tourism Promotion and Cooperation Fair. The expo aims at strengthening the strategic interaction between China and Africa in culture and tourism.
China and Africa jointly create a better future, meet in Hunan, encapsulates the spirit of collaboration and partnership that defines this relationship. By promoting cultural exchange and tourism between China and Africa, we not only enrich our own societies, but also foster greater understanding and friendship amongst our people.
And as Kenya Airways, we are committed to do our part with partners to make sure that we continue to open up Kenya, whether that is through accessibility, but also through creating more awareness about what Kenya as a country has to offer. And we currently work very closely with all the stakeholders, including Kenya Tourism Board.
At present, China is Kenya's sixth biggest tourism sales market internationally, contributing 5.5% of total international tourists.
It's a showcase of sports and culture this weekend as over 22 delegations from across 5 continents convene in Nairobi for the International School Sports Federation World School Cross Country Championship at the Ngong Racecourse. The championship, which empowers the youth through sports and education, will feature over 400 athletes from all over the world. Watch the crowning of the young champions live on KBC Channel 1 this Sunday, the 12th of May, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. KBC Channel 1, your true sport.